What is Chainlink? In this video, we're going to show you exactly what Chainlink is, what it does, and why it's useful. Welcome to Crypto Made Simple, the best place to learn everything you need to know about crypto. We make crypto simple. Also known by its token ticker LINK, Chainlink is an open source decentralized information retrieving network that utilizes oracles to provide real world data to the Ethereum blockchain. Oracles, like the ones found in Delphi? Well, no, not exactly. Let's get into it. Back in 2014, Sergey Nazarov and Steve Ellis founded smartcontract.com, a website that aimed to bring more functionality to this newly developed smart contract technology on the Ethereum network. Fast forward a couple of years to 2017, and from this original project, Chainlink would be born, launching into markets in November of 2017. In the beginning, Chainlink was the oracle that settled smart contracts on the blockchain. But as time progressed and Chainlink 2.0 was introduced, we saw Chainlink pivot to the decentralized oracle network we see today. But that was a lot of techno-babble to take in. So first, let's break down some terminology so we're on the same page. I'm going to assume you know what a cryptocurrency is, at least generally. Otherwise, this would be kind of a strange video to have clicked on. Well, unless you were looking for a video on fencing, but I digress. We'll start with the word of the hour, Chainlink. Chainlink is essentially a provider and aggregator of real-world information for apps on the Ethereum blockchain that require specific data to complete their smart contracts. Although we'll come back to what smart contracts are in just a moment. Second, in the world of crypto, an oracle is essentially a provider of real-world information to the blockchain, meaning in this case, they are the people who provide their data to Chainlink, who then gives it to the customers. And lastly, at least for now, we have smart contracts. Within the terminology of crypto, you'll often hear the term smart contract. While this might sound abstract, it basically means a pre-agreed self-executing contract written into code. For example, Person A and Person B don't know each other, but they want to trade in a safe manner. How do they do that? Traditionally, we find a reliable middleman who we both trusted, but that takes time and typically costs money. Wouldn't it be convenient if we could write into code that the agreement we wanted and then have it execute automatically once the deal's conditions have been met? Well, that's exactly the sort of functionality smart contracts provide. Let's say you want to sell an NFT on the Ethereum network. A smart contract could be created where one person A sends over the agreed upon ETH amount to person B's wallet. Person B then sends over the NFT automatically to person A. Although this agreement in our example above is between individuals, it is also the same technology that works behind the scenes at OpenSea, which is an NFT marketplace, and other platforms like it. Additionally, given this code is unchangeable once written, to hack this data afterward would require the successful hacking of thousands of computers worldwide. Meaning if person B doesn't place the agreed upon ETH amount into person A's wallet, person A's NFT never leaves their possession. No ifs and or buts about it. These same principles also apply to any apps on the blockchain itself. So by utilizing smart contracts, users can trust the company won't cheat on them either. Similarly, as these contracts are just code, they can be ran for pretty much anything you can imagine. Let's look at an example like a crypto shorts gambling app that would need real-world sports data to establish if a specific outcome had occurred or not before automatically processing the bet accordingly. Although that's a pretty straightforward example, this technology could, at least in theory, be scaled up to running a country's entire economy. But regardless, now you know the three main definitions for this video and a little bit of the history. Now let's talk about how Chainlink achieves all of this. First, the information needs to be added to Chainlink. To add information, Chainlink uses node operators, who can double up as oracles to provide them with data. Chainlink runs a modified proof-of-stake consensus mechanism to do this quickly and efficiently. But what does it mean and why does it matter? A consensus mechanism is a system that cryptocurrencies use to validate the authenticity of transactions and maintain the security of the blockchain. The difference between proof of work, which is the original consensus mechanism used in blockchains like Bitcoin, and proof of stake is how they gather consensus to confirm the next block is correct before adding it to the blockchain. Under proof of work, most all nodes need to communicate and agree with each other to gather consensus. Given the size of the Bitcoin network, waiting for 51% of the nodes to agree can be time-consuming and very energy-intensive. On the other hand, proof of stake uses an alternative model for gathering consensus where users lock up or stake some of their tokens as collateral in exchange for the chance to validate blocks that make up the blockchain. In short, under proof of work, they look for a consensus of 51% or more from all the validating nodes to confirm the next block, whereas proof of stake requires nodes to lock up some of their tokens as collateral and then selects the node with the most stake to validate incoming blocks. Ultimately, the proof of stake consensus mechanism creates a one validator node per block setup, making it much quicker and more scalable than proof of work. The blockchain can also take ownership of the collateral stake if a validator node misbehaves, which ensures security and that no one tries to cheat the system. So those who provide accurate information will be rewarded with additional link tokens, and those who don't will lose their stake. Since more money is locked through staking to become a node than is currently on each blockchain block, there isn't any reason to provide false data because the punishment far exceeds the reward. Additionally, under Chainlink's specific proof of stake consensus model, certain nodes can also act as oracles, who then bid to provide the requested data in exchange for an additional reward. But we'll come to that last point in a minute. But you're probably wondering, why would someone pay Chainlink for information they can just Google? First, not all information is available on Google. And second, why use any comparison website when you could just go to the source? Usually it's because more data typically means a more accurate answer, as opposed to a single actor who can be manipulated, greedy, or just stupid, resulting in inaccuracies being reported. However, the true answer is that you're not just paying for the information. In reality, you're paying for the information to be coded into a language that the requesting blockchain or app will understand and then process. Okay, now we know that Chainlink is essentially a data collector and provider for apps on Ethereum, and an oracle is just a fancy word for an information provider. How does someone actually go about placing an order and getting that requested information? Well, this is where it gets complicated, because Chainlink goes through a 3-contract process to get there. The first thing Chainlink needs to do is find reliable data that it can offer to its customers. This is when those nodes come into play, or those who have staked their link tokens to the network and essentially act as truth keepers for the network, which I mentioned just a moment ago. So, to get things started, a requesting contract must be created requesting off-chain data. Next, the Chainlink algorithm will process this request into a matching Chainlink service layer agreement, or SLA contract. This SLA contract can then retrieve the information not found on the blockchain. Once this data has been retrieved, the SLA will then create 3 separate contracts: a reputation contract, an order matching contract, and an aggregating contract. But hold up, more technobabble you're probably thinking. Don't worry, let's break it down. Like the name suggests, the reputation contract checks the reputation of the submitting oracle, or information provider. Think of it as having the server checking your feedback score to make sure your performance and authenticity are up to par. Here are those who have previously misbehaved, such as submitting incorrect data, taking too long to answer, or not answering after bidding to answer, are all filtered out to make sure answers received for the requesting contract are as accurate as possible. Then, after discovering our reliable nodes, we enter the second phase, the order matching contract. Essentially, the order matching contract is where the request contract is processed, converted into a computing language that can access to the internet, and is then sent to nodes to see who can provide this data. From here, reliable nodes submit bids. For example, person A says, "I'll process this data for $75, while person B says, "I will process this data for $50. Whoever is willing to do the cheapest work and can deliver it quickest will get the job. Naturally, depending on the type of information requested in the requesting contract, the number of nodes selected to handle the request can vary. The more challenging or significant requests generally get more nodes for a better, more accurate consensus. Finally, we have the aggregating contract, or the final filter. that validates the data from all the different sources. Let's pretend a request is sent to 50 companies for data, and 44 all reply the same way. The aggregating contract would spot the 6 inconsistencies and remove them from the equation before aggregating a result on the remaining accurate entries. While that all sounds like it may take a long time to complete, it is worth remembering that this happens automatically and almost instantly. So, to recap, this 3-contract process is akin to a blockchain app paying Chainlink to find some reliable nodes for data, the reputation contract. Then, this app submits a question that some of the nodes will be able to answer, and Chainlink sets up an auction to see who will provide that data for the cheapest amount, the order matching contract. Finally, Chainlink discards any incorrect answers and aggregates the rest of the answers before sending the results back to the app, the aggregating contract. Okay, that's most of the super technical stuff out of the way, but before you're too relaxed, let's touch on the tokenomics before wrapping this all up. But what is tokenomics? In simple terms, tokenomics is a compound of the words token and economic. In crypto, the word token is used to describe a crypto company's digital asset that can be used as a store of value and has practical utility. So in our example, this would be the Link token, and aside from just being a digital investment, it also has a practical utility to pay oracles for information. Luckily for us, looking under the hood and on paper, Chainlink's tokenomics appear solid. The Link token itself will eventually become a deflationary currency. According to their white paper, there will only be 1 billion Link tokens, with around 50% of this total supply currently in circulation. This limit is set in code and cannot be changed, because the token is used to pay for data to complete smart contracts. Eventually, there will be more demand for Link tokens than is being supplied. This is what makes the token a deflationary asset. Typically, an item with more demand than supply usually sees its price increase over the long run, but that's not always a guarantee. So not only is the currency deflationary due to the limit of 1 billion Link tokens, which are used to pay for the retrieval of data, it is also well distributed. Looking at all the Chainlink wallets, we can see only one unidentified wallet which holds more than 1% at 1.33% of the total Link supply, compared to a project like Dogecoin, which when looking at the 5 largest Doge wallets, we can find wallets with 17%, 10%, and 4.35% of the total Doge supply. Meaning nearly a third of all available Doge tokens on Earth are sitting in one of these 3 unidentified private wallets. By comparison, Link's token distribution looks exceptional because it is more evenly spread out amongst Link holders. Additionally, as stated in Chainlink's white paper, of the total 1 billion max tokens, 35% of this total will be allocated to those who help secure the network and run the oracles. Plus, 30% will go towards developing and expanding the ecosystem, while the final 35% was or will be sold, such as during their ICO. Speaking of the ICO, you would be sitting with a big smile on your face if you managed to get in at the bargain ICO price of 11 cents. Had you gotten in around this all-time low and sold around the all-time high of $52.70 back in May 2021, you would have been looking at over 47,000% ROI in only 4 years. Not a bad rate of return. In summary, the Link token is deflationary, well distributed, and primarily used as deposits to secure the network or pay for network fees, like when setting up the previously mentioned contracts we mentioned earlier. Okay, I think we've pretty much covered it all at this point. You now know who invented Chainlink, why they invented it, how it's utilized, its tokenomics, who uses it, and how they set up orders through the network. Leaving just one thing left to address, my final thoughts. Chainlink on paper is a great project, and it certainly fills a niche that provides a much needed utility for smart contract blockchain. Now, previous performance isn't always an indicator of future success, but if Chainlink continues the way it has, it looks like the future is bright for the project. Currently, we're witnessing a Chainlink that only works with Ethereum. As a result, I'm guessing once Chainlink becomes interoperable with other blockchains, we can see more rallies in the price. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. But when we think about how smart contract blockchains are out there, if Chainlink can fend off or swallow up any competitors it runs into along the way, we believe there is a lot of room left to grow. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. We hope you have found it helpful and you're leaving with a better understanding of what Chainlink is and does. If you got any questions, make sure to ask us in the comments below. While you're there, and if we've earned it, tapping the subscribe button is always appreciated, and be sure to check out other content as well.